Madam Mayor, I have serious concerns about the culture of unminuted meetings as outlined in this report. Passing a decision orally with the clear potential of covering up your tracks in case it all went wrong is not acceptable. The Labour group then brazenly went on in 2 subsequent elections, blaming anyone and everyone for the lack of budget the council faced. They took no responsibility and yet caused a £3 million hole in our budget, a hole that still exists today. Regarding taxi licensing, it is apparent member influence on a day-to-day operations has been a normal occurrence for many years, and the report highlights a few decisions that the general public will be horrified to know have been passed. I think it is clear that officers have struggled with councillor pressure, which must be very stressful for them. The majority of taxi drivers are fit and proper, but their good names are being dragged down by the clear manipulation of political gerrymandering that should have been stopped years ago. Why have the Labour group failed to address these concerns? Why have they allowed these members to continue in this committee when they are clearly part of the problem? Councillor Banwaite, why don't you now show your leadership of your group, show your authority and show the people of Derby that integrity is paramount over political motivation? Regarding governance, Councillor Banwaite, you tried to persuade the opposition leaders that you are not to blame, and yet the section on governance disagrees with that assertion. Not only is your party falling apart nationally, but locally as well, deliberately blurring the lines on proper constituted meetings with what is tantamount to unconstitutional behaviour seems to be the norm in your world. You took over the reins in 2014, yet in November 2015, the report shows that under your leadership in the political cabinet meeting, you made a decision to reinstate the CCTV, and if it wasn't for our legal officers, this would have gone through without proper ratification. It was only then that the written guidance was produced to understand the proper role of the PCCM. The Labour group seem to have forgotten who the elected councillors are. Their arrogance is unbelievable, riding roughshod over the wishes of the people of Derby. How long has the unelected Labour Party agent, James Shires, been allowed to influence decision-making in this council? Too long, Madam Mayor. That's how long. Councillor Bayliss not only allowed James Shires to attend political cabinet meetings, but he also instructed the council to provide him with a security pass, giving him free access to the council house, a privilege only given to elected councillors. No wonder the Labour group supported remaining in the EU. Being unelected is par for the course. Clearly, this is a breach of council procedure and trust, and leaves me wondering whether James Shires had access to the pink papers. It seems logical to assume that he did, as he was being treated as a councillor in all other respects. Mr Shires' most recent access was this month. Sorry, last month. It was June. So he had access until June this year. People need to understand that. This report talked about a breakdown of trust, quite rightly so. UKIP have been complaining about misuse of council resource for years, only to find officers' hands are tied and standard boards dominated by Labour councillors. In conclusion, Madam Mayor, this report is overdue in this council. It highlights a deep culture of political gerrymandering which seeps through the very veins of the council. The cuts that the authority has had to go through has made officers more nervous than they would normally be and has led to very serious lapses in decision-making. The relationship between councillors and the council has been blurred to the point that it was difficult to see the difference between honest council activity and pure political activity. That blurring is an affront to the good name of Derby. The Labour group has sullied this city for many years and needs to make amends very quickly. Thank you, Madam Mayor.